Nathan Trentham, a question of silence. The approach was discreet, as these things usually were. A senior figure in a junior minister's office telephoned Trentham midweek and asked whether he might look into the sudden absence of a young aide named Claire Henshaw. The vote on a controversial finance bill was scheduled for the following Monday. The office preferred that any personal difficulty be resolved quietly before the press developed an interest. Trentham accepted the retainer and began with the version he had been given, a stressed employee who had simply needed time away. It did not survive the first afternoon. Claire's flat in Pimlico had been left in a state of deliberate order. Drawers were closed. The bed was made. A single suitcase was missing, but the wardrobe still held the majority of her clothes. Her phone lay on the kitchen counter, powered off, as if placed there with intention rather than forgotten. There were no signs of a struggle and none of the disorder that usually accompanied a genuine emotional collapse. Someone had left quickly and carefully, taking only what was required. Trentham spoke to two colleagues who had worked with her on the bill. Both described a capable, private woman who had grown quieter in the final fortnight. One mentioned that she had stayed late several evenings, reviewing drafting notes long after the rest of the team had gone home. He obtained, through proper channels and a degree of persistence, access to the relevant working papers. The irregularities were not crude. They were precise, small adjustments in wording that opened advantageous pathways for a particular corporate donor whose interests aligned neatly with certain clauses in the bill. Claire had annotated the changes in her own hand, cross-referenced them with public donation records, and begun assembling a timeline. The material was incomplete, but already sufficient to interest a serious journalist. By the time Trentham requested a further meeting with the minister's office, the temperature had changed. Calls were returned more slowly. Documents that had been promised became difficult to locate. The original concern for Claire's welfare was replaced by a polite interest in whether Trentham had made any progress in encouraging her to return to the fold. He understood then that locating her had never been the primary objective. Containing her had. It took another 3 days. Claire had gone to a cousin's flat in Brighton, a place with no immediate connection to her Westminster life. She opened the door on the chain, recognized the quiet professionalism in Trentham's manner, and let him in. She was tired and frightened but clear. "I thought if I disappeared for a week they might quietly amend the clauses," she said. "That was naive. Then I thought they might try to discredit me. I didn't know if they'd do more than that." Trentham did not offer false reassurance. He asked to see what she had taken with her. The copies were clean, dated, and supported by enough primary material to stand on their own. He made a single call to a journalist he had known for years, one who had never yet burned a source, and arranged a secure handover. Claire hesitated only once. "They hired you to bring me back." "They did," Trentham said. "I'm declining the remainder of the brief." He returned to London that evening. The minister's retainer, almost entirely unspent, was transferred back the following morning with a short covering note. "Miss Henshaw is safe. The material she prepared has been placed with an appropriate recipient. I am unable to continue acting for the office in this matter." No accusation, no lecture, only the necessary facts. The finance bill passed the following week with the contentious clauses intact. The journalist's story appeared 3 days later, carefully sourced and difficult to dismiss. The donor issued a statement. The minister's office issued another. Claire Henshaw's name did not appear in the first wave of coverage. The journalist had protected her as agreed. Trentham filed the copy of his note and closed the folder. In Westminster, silence was often treated as a form of loyalty. He had never found it a reliable one. The work, as he understood it, was simpler. Establish what had happened, protect the person who had tried to bring it to light, and refuse to help bury the rest. He left the office early and walked for a while through the damp evening streets, the city's usual noise moving around him without requiring a response. Another quiet file finished. Another small refusal to participate in the more convenient version of events.